buckle up, because the gloves are off, the patience is gone, and the fans, they've had enough. Sophie Cunningham, arguably one of the Indiana Fever's most beloved players, a woman who plays with grit, passion, and no fear, is now out for the rest of the season. Why? Because of a reckless hit, a dangerous play, a moment that should have never happened. And yet, here we are, again. But this time, fans aren't just mad. They're furious, because this wasn't just bad luck or part of the game. This felt targeted. This felt personal. And to a lot of people, it felt like the WNBA just sat back and let it happen. If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. Let's break it down, because the play that tore Sophie's MCL didn't come out of nowhere. It came from Bria Hartley, a player with a history of questionable fouls, reckless play, and zero accountability. And what did the league do after this particular hit? Nothing. No flagrant. No fine. No suspension. No statement. Just silence. And that silence, it's louder than anything else. Because when you don't protect your players, when you don't even pretend to care, it sends a message. And the message fans are hearing now is, tough luck. Deal with it. Except Sophie's not just any player. She's not a bench warmer. She's not invisible. She's a fan favorite. She's a defender of Caitlin Clark. She's a heart and soul energy monster that brought grit, leadership, and authenticity to the floor. The kind of player who dives for loose balls, throws her body into screens, and keeps the game electric even when the scoreboard isn't. And now she's gone. The fallout? Devastating. Because the second Sophie hit the floor, clutched her knee, and didn't get up, something shifted. Not just for the Fever, but for the entire tone of this season. Suddenly, it wasn't about playoff pushes or rookie records. It was about survival. And the question every fan started asking was, who's next? Caitlin Clark already takes more hits than anyone in the league. Opponents close out late, bump her off the ball, throw elbows at screens, and jaw at her nonstop. It's like she's playing a contact sport inside a non-contact rulebook. And the refs? They look the other way. Almost like they've been told not to protect her too much. Almost like letting her get beat up is part of the branding now. And you know what? Fans are noticing. Social media is on fire. Reddit threads are full of frame-by-frame clips of Clark getting body-checked, Sophie getting mauled, the Fever's guards getting battered off cuts. It's all out there. There's receipts. So when Sophie goes down, fans don't see it as an isolated incident. They see a pattern where stars get targeted, where physicality is encouraged, where toughness becomes code for violence with no consequences. And all the while, WNBA leadership just watches. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, silent. League reps, deflecting. Ref crews, inconsistent at best, blind at worst. Where's the accountability? Where's the response? Because let's be real, this league loves to profit off the hype of players like Sophie and Caitlin. They'll plaster their faces across promos, milk their highlights for clicks, sell their jerseys. But when those same players are physically put in danger, nothing, not even a single sentence of real support. And that's what making fans snap. It's not just that Sophie got hurt. It's that no one is being held responsible. Bria Hartley walks away like it's just another Tuesday. No fine. No reprimand. Not even a whisper of guilt. If the WNBA is going to allow this kind of play, then just say it. Say you want blood. Say you want chaos. Say this is a new image. Hit hard, walk away. And if it's a fan favorite that goes down, oh well, because that's what it looks like right now. And the Indiana Fever? They're not okay. Sophie was the glue, the enforcer, the one who wasn't afraid to bark back, to throw her body around, to take a hit so Clark didn't have to. She gave the team edge, energy, identity. Now she's gone. And what's the team's response? She petty, a 5 feet 7 inches veteran guard signed on a hardship deal. No offense to she's solid. She's smart. But she's not the answer to losing a 6 feet 1 inch muscle forward who fights in the trenches every night. It's not even apples to oranges. It's apples to air. The front office didn't respond to Sophie's injury with strategy. They responded with desperation. They didn't say, let's find someone who brings toughness. They said, let's plug a hole and hope no one notices. Well, we noticed. And Caitlin Clark? She's not just carrying the offense anymore. Now she's carrying the weight of a team that's collapsing behind her. Sophie was her shield, her vocal backup, the one teammate who pushed back when Clark was getting bullied. And now she's gone. Every bump Clark takes now, it hurts a little more. Every double team, harder to escape. Every ISO possession, heavier on her legs. And what's worse, there's no backup plan. The rotations are scrambled. The offense is janky. The defense is a mess. And Clark, for all her talent, looks tired. You can see it. You can feel it. Because when your toughest teammate gets taken out and no one says a word about it, that's demoralizing. That's alienating. That's a message. You're on your own. And for a rookie carrying the weight of the entire league's media machine, that's too much. The Fever's record might still have a pulse. But the chemistry? Dead. The confidence? Shaky. The trust? Gone. And fans? They've stopped hoping for a title run. Now they're just hoping Clark doesn't get hurt too. Because after what happened to Sophie, anything feels possible. And you want to know what makes it worse? This could have been avoided. If the league had just stepped in earlier. If they'd called out rough play weeks ago. If refs had actually protected the stars instead of letting games turn into rugby scrums. If they had disciplined Bria Hartley before it got this far. If there were actual consequences for dangerous behavior. Maybe Sophie is still playing. Maybe the Fever have momentum. Maybe Caitlin isn't on an island. But instead, here we are. More injuries. More silence. More questions. And a league that's this close to losing its grip. Because you can't grow a product if your most marketable players don't feel safe. You can't expand a game if you let it descend into chaos. And you definitely can't keep fans loyal if every week feels like a new injury headline and a new round of fines for players who dare to speak out. Sophie Cunningham told us the truth. She called out the officiating. She called out the double standards. She stood by her teammates. She played through pain. And now, she's left on the sidelines while the league acts like everything's fine. Well, it's not fine. And fans know it. They feel it. They're fuming. They're tired of being gaslit. Tired of the WNBA brushing off serious injuries like they're part of the show. Tired of the silence. Tired of the incompetence. Tired of watching the best parts of the game get punished while the dirtiest ones walk free. So here's the bottom line. If the WNBA wants to survive this moment, if it wants to evolve from potential to powerhouse, it needs to change immediately because the fans are no longer asking nicely. They want accountability. They want protection. They want respect for the players who built this league and keep it alive night after night. And until they get that, this won't be the last time the stands erupt. This won't be the last time a player gets hurt and fans cry foul. Here's what everyone needs to understand. Sophie Cunningham wasn't just another injury. She was the last wall between chaos and Caitlin Clark. You remove that wall, you better have a damn good plan. But the WNBA didn't. The Fever didn't. Nobody did. And now, we're watching Caitlin Clark, the most high-profile rookie in league history, play without protection, without veteran muscle, without her trusted teammate by her side. And somehow, they expect her to just handle it? Let me paint the picture for you. Caitlin brings the ball up the court. There's no Sophie to set the hard screen. No Sophie to draw the foul. No Sophie to chirp at the refs when Clark gets hacked. Again, the defense tightens, the pressure doubles. And what used to be a team fight is now a solo mission. And how is the league responding? They're tweeting inspirational quotes. They're posting slow-mo highlights of Clark hitting threes, while conveniently cutting the clip before the elbow to the ribs or the off-ball shove that almost sent her flying into the scorer's table. It's propaganda at this point. Because behind the flashy edits and press releases, there's a very real crisis happening, and fans see it. They see their favorite players getting targeted. They see stars like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham get knocked down, literally, and brushed aside. They see the league doubling down on marketing while turning its back on player safety. And the worst part? It's not just physical pain. It's mental exhaustion. Do you know what it's like to carry a franchise, sell out every arena, take hits every night, and then have a smile through post-game interviews like nothing's wrong? Because that's what Caitlin is doing. And without Sophie there to shoulder some of that emotional weight, it's only getting heavier. Let's not pretend this is sustainable. You can't keep running your star through a gauntlet and expect her to keep showing up like a machine. Clark might be one of the toughest players the game has ever seen, but she's still human. She needs teammates who will go to war with her. She needs coaching that adjusts. She needs a league that sees her as more than a brand. And right now, she has none of that. And it's not just about Clark. It's about every single player who's now looking around and wondering, if I go down next, will anyone care? Because what happened to Sophie set a precedent. If you speak out, if you play hard, if you step up as an enforcer, you might just get left in the dust. You might just get hurt, forgotten, and replaced with a one-week contract and some half-baked PR spin. There's something broken in the system. And it's not just Sophie's knee. It's the culture that says toughness matters more than health. That if you're not marketable, you're replaceable. That the show must go on, even if the stars can't stand. And fans? They're waking up. They're not just disappointed. They're angry. Angry that their voices are being ignored. Angry that the players they love are getting hurt while the league turns a blind eye. Angry that the WNBA keeps asking for support without doing the bare minimum to protect the people who make the game worth watching. You want us to care about the league? Start by caring about the players. Not just the box scores. Not just the jersey sales. The people. Start by asking, what did we lose when we lost Sophie Cunningham this season? We lost one of the few players who brought emotion to every possession. We lost someone who was willing to be vocal even when it cost her. We lost a defender who gave Clark breathing room. We lost balance. And you can't replace that with another 5'6" guard on a hardship contract. You can't patch it with another "we stand with our players" tweet. You can't fake chemistry. Because the Fever, they're lost right now. You can see it in their rotations. You can see it in their body language. It's not just about missing shots. It's about missing identity. Sophie brought fire. Without her, the floor is cold. And the league has the audacity to act like this is just business as usual? No, this is a breaking point. And every game that passes with Clark carrying more weight, taking more hits, and getting less help is pushing this team closer to collapse. And let's talk about what could have been. This season was supposed to be the moment. The Fever were supposed to rise. Clark was going to shine. Sophie was a perfect sidekick, fiery, experienced, loyal. It could have been the foundation of something real, something that lasts. Instead, the league gambled on chaos. They chose noise over structure. And now, the bill is coming due. No one's saying the WNBA isn't growing, but it's growing wild, unchecked, unfocused. You don't build a dynasty on broken knees and brushed off fouls. You build it by honoring the people who give their bodies to the game, by making sure the next Sophie doesn't go down the same way. So what happens now? Will the league own up? Will the Fever make a real move instead of slapping a temporary guard on a bleeding roster? Will someone in power finally say the words fans have been shouting all season? That this isn't acceptable. That stars deserve protection. That toughness and recklessness are not the same thing. Or will we keep pretending this is just how it goes? Fans already know what side they're on. They want their stars respected. They want their voices heard. And most of all, they want Sophie's injury to mean something. Not just another line on the injury report. Not just another body down. But a turning point. Because if this league wants to be taken seriously, wants to support the ratings, the sponsorships, the legacy, then it needs to start acting like it values the people who make that possible. Sophie Cunningham went down for this league. And now the league has to decide, will it stand up for her, or will it stay silent and prove that all the slogans, all the promos, all the progress was just for show? We're watching. The fans are watching. Caitlin is watching. So what happens next is on you, WNBA. Don't fumble this moment. Not again. You feel it, right? That tension in the air, the shift, the moment when fans stop cheering and start questioning, when optimism turns into outrage, and when the people who once defended the WNBA tooth and nail are suddenly looking at each other and saying, what are we even supporting anymore? Because let's be honest, the injury to Sophie Cunningham, it wasn't just unfortunate. It was a gut punch to every single fan who believed the league was finally turning a corner, that we were witnessing something historic, something long overdue. Instead, we got silence. We got a league that let Bria Hartley walk away with zero consequences. We got a head coach in Stephanie White refusing to even acknowledge the gravity of losing Sophie for the season. No fire, no emotion, just some carefully worded next player up, coach speak, and a shrug. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, your golden goose, is out there visibly rattled, playing without her protector, running the gauntlet alone. The entire league said it wanted Clark. They wanted her spotlight, her ratings, her fans. They wanted the business. But they weren't ready for the responsibility. And now, it's showing. Game by game, hit by hit, misstep by misstep. This season is starting to feel less like a historic rise and more like a slow-motion train wreck. And it all points back to the same root cause. Neglect. Neglect of player safety. Neglect of fan trust. Neglect of basic integrity. And Sophie's injury? That was the moment it all boiled over. Because for months, she's been the one sticking her neck out, speaking up when others stayed quiet, calling out bogus officiating, playing through pain, defending the league's most targeted rookie with every ounce of her body. And how did the WNBA repay her? By letting a reckless foul take her out, then pretending it never happened. No fine, no suspension, no clarification, no apology. It's like the league just hit delete. But fans don't forget. They watched the replay. They saw the angle. They saw Bria Hartley's contact, the awkward twist, the grimace, the way Sophie didn't get up. And you expect them to just move on? Let me ask you something. What do you think would have happened if the roles were reversed? If Sophie Cunningham had been the one to hit Bria Hartley? If Hartley had gone down with a torn MCL? Do you think it would have been this quiet? No, there would have been outrage. Headlines. Pressers, think pieces. But because it was Sophie, because she plays hard, because she's scrappy, gritty, emotional, suddenly it's just chalked up to physical basketball. Miss us with that. There's a difference between playing tough and playing dirty. And what happened to Sophie Cunningham was dirty. And the longer the league refuses to acknowledge that, the more fans tune out. Because this league keeps asking for loyalty, but it doesn't know how to earn it. It's like they think growth is about flashy promos and celebrity courtside seats. But real growth, real loyalty, it's earned by standing up for the people who built the game. And Sophie helped build it, not through commercials, not through headlines, but by being the one who did the work no one else wanted to do. The screens, the box outs, the confrontations, the interviews no one else had the guts to give. And now she's been erased. Replaced with a short-term guard who doesn't fill any of the void she left behind. Let's talk about that for a second, because it's not just about talent. It's about role. You can't replace Sophie Cunningham's leadership with a plug-and-play guard on a 7-day contract. That's not a fix. That's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And while we're at it, where is the internal response? Where are the Fever players saying, this isn't right? Where are the captains standing up and defending their own? Where's anyone saying, we lost more than a player? We lost our voice? Crickets. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're just trying to survive the season. But fans notice. Because this isn't just about Sophie's physical pain. This is about the emotional vacuum left behind. The silence speaks volumes. And it leaves Caitlin Clark more isolated than ever. Because let's face it, Clark was barely surviving with Sophie on the court. Every pick was a war zone. Every shot came with a bump. Every game was a wrestling match. And Sophie took as many hits as she gave. Now, Clark's out there naked. She's walking into every game with a flashing neon target above her head. And the scariest part? The league doesn't care. You'd think after a month of mounting injuries, botched calls, and player frustrations, there'd be a league-wide reckoning. Instead, it's like they muted the audio, turned off the comments, censored the critics. But the fans, they're still here, and they're furious. They're the ones filling arenas, buying jerseys, streaming games, defending this league when the outside world scoffs. But now, they're getting tired of fighting for a league that won't fight for itself. And if they stop fighting, that's it. The growth stops. The momentum dies. The excitement evaporates. Because growth isn't about shiny edits and record-breaking viewership. Growth is about sustainability, about building a culture that protects its players, especially the ones who bled for this league. You can't grow without accountability. You can't lead without consequences. And you sure as hell can't build a dynasty on broken knees and PR spin. So here's the real question. What's the league going to do the next time someone gets hurt? What happens if Caitlin Clark goes down? Do they just slot in another guard and keep pushing merch? Because that's the road we're heading down. And if someone doesn't stop the car, if someone doesn't speak up, act out, draw the line, this league is going to lose everything it worked for in a blink. Sophie Cunningham was a canary in the coal mine, and she's already on the injured list. So what's it going to be, WNBA? Will you keep pretending nothing's wrong? Or will you finally admit you let this happen? And the only way to fix it now is to start listening to the fans, to the players, to the game itself, because it's begging for help. And if you keep ignoring it, the next headline won't be about an injury. It'll be about an exodus.